I'm gonna go down my top 10 PS2 games of all time. No
Oh shit.
particular order. Let's get it. This one took me an afternoon to do. It's gonna be too hard. I might do top three. I might do the last three here, man. But here's my list, man. Here's my list. Top 10 PS2 games. Let's get at this shit. So I'm gonna put up
Yeah.
there top 10. I'm gonna put up there Madden 2004 with Michael Vick on the cover. Michael Vick on the cover, man. Madden 2004. This game was the sports
Oh.
game of sports games, bro.
Oh my goodness. Michael Vick could not be touched
Could
on
not
Madden
touch tonight.
2004.
I mean, that was the game that got and that got sport. That was a game that elevated sports games. Period. I think
Man.
Madden to this day holds a candle, man, to that 2004 version, which everyone had a copy on GameCube, Xbox, PS2. If there was
Man.
one sports game in your library, it was Madden
Yeah.
2004, man.
Coming out the gate swinging, bro.
Sweden, bro. Madden
Oh,
2004.
shit.
I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna continue on with the sports. Personally, I know this may not be on everyone's list, but for the baseball heads out there,
I already know what you're saying, bro.
EA's
Talk about
MVP Baseball 2005.
2000.
Man.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
Ooh.
my goodness, dude. That was
Yeah.
still the baseball game of baseball games to this day. I don't care MLB the show. I don't care what the fuck is out there. I mean, we had
Nah, dog.
Slugfest. Nah, that shit don't hand the camp. That shit it does not hold up to MVP Baseball 2005, man.
They brought the smoke.
They
brought the
brought smoke.
smoke.
Oh, dog, man. I remember being a Red Sox fan, man. You had the Hall of Fame players in there. I put Cy Young in that motherfucker, yo. I could, smoking motherfuckers in that shit, bro.
Yeah, MVP
My man,
baseball
there's David Ortiz.
2005.
The gameplay, it was so crisp. The pitching
Yeah.
was so perfect. The hitting mechanics. I mean that. The soundtrack, both. I mean, first of all, the soundtrack on both Madden 2004 and MVP Baseball 2005, fire, man. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the games that sold soundtracks for gaming. That's like, oh, games could have soundtracks like this now. Like, okay, we're gonna put some time and energy. I think that affected every single one. EA stepped everyone's game up for soundtracks for their games, man.
And EA Sports, what the fuck?
EA
man?
Sports, man. Yeah,
What the
dude.
fuck? Remember when they cared?
Yeah, when it was just a cash in every year.
Remember when they cared? Oh,
Because
man.
yeah. I mean, well, this is a topic for another discussion. I think competitive. There's no competition, so they have to fight. They had to fight for your money back then. They had to bring the
Facts.
smoke. They had MLB Slugfest. They had 2K games. There go the sirens, man, because they know
Yep.
we on that
Facts.
smoke, bro.
Facts. Keep
They
going,
know we on
bro.
this. Oh man, but yeah, MVP Baseball 2005, Madden 2004. I'm gonna continue. This is the last sports title on here. That was 10-9. We'll go. This is eighth. We're gonna go with WWE SmackDown. Here comes the pain, bro. With Brock Lesnar on the cover, bro.
Yeah,
Game
bro.
was the truth.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, dude. I mean, I know SmackDown versus Raw came afterwards. True. But the
But it wasn't.
gameplay mechanics, it wasn't there, man.
No, here comes the pain, man. Oh my God. Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
man.
this list is finna be tough, bro. Keep going, man.
Yeah, man. I'll go in with Here Comes the Pain. The gameplay mechanics was top notch. It had that arcade feel. It wasn't about presentation. It wasn't about putting on a good show for the fans. It was legitimately trying to beat your opponent like it was a freaking fighting game, man. I mean, every part of your body took damage, and you could target you can target certain parts of the body. You put someone in a sharpshooter, and their legs went from blue to yellow, and then it go from yellow to red, and then every time it get further down, you'd be closer to tapping out. And dude, I mean, 4-player action, you get that multi tap, 4 players going at it, and it didn't slow down. The frame rate still stayed the same. The graphics were crisp, clean. The wrestlers looked like the real life counterparts. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this wasn't shown before in any other wrestling video game to that date. No other video game looked that good for wrestling. It was literally like playing SmackDown and playing Raw live at any time you wanted. I mean, the
Man,
backstage segments with the career mode, the oh my gosh, dude, the match variety, the Hell in a Cell, steel
man,
cage, elimination
man.
chamber, the hardcore matches go to literally New York City, Times Square. You know what I'm saying? You remember that? You can go on the third floor of this big building to shove someone off it,
Man,
fall 3 stories down.
yeah,
The
man.
weapons they had, how you can break someone through the table. Dude, every
The
perfect
roster,
wrestling.
the roster. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
do you know
You
how
had
much money you would have to pay right now to get a roster like that?
man,
You,
like
yeah.
all the DLC, all of
My
that, bro.
goodness.
You had Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Kurt Angle, The
Rock,
Rock, Stone Cold,
Eddie
Triple H,
Guerrero,
Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels,
Chris
you
Benoit,
know, redacted.
yeah. John Cena before he got big with some mediocre
Yeah.
stats.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, dog.
Batista,
Yeah,
Randy Orton.
yeah, man. Yeah, talk about it, bro. Yeah,
Man,
and
that
man,
that game captured the ruthless aggression perfectly. Vince
two.
McMahon was in the shit. I mean, the Iron Sheik, Sergeant
Yeah,
Slaughter,
Rob Van
uh,
Dam, the
Rob Van
Dudley
Dam was my
Boys,
boy. The
man.
Dudley Boys, Matt Hardy. No Jeff. I don't think Jeff didn't make it. Matt made it though. Booker
Oh
T.
man, bro.
You
Yeah,
can't
that's the
buy a
greatest.
roster like that, man.
Yeah, man. That's the greatest wrestling game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
That
Undertaker. You had
shit.
two versions. Dead Man and American Badass. Two they gave you two takers. You have to pay for that now. You have to pay for
Yeah,
DLC to get all your versions of Undertaker on that shit, man.
man, bro. You really, yeah, bro. And it's crazy, man. This list finna be tough, dog. Keep going, man.
All
Shit.
right, man. That's my sports. You know what? No. There's one more sports. There's one more sports. We're gonna go with extreme sports. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, bruh.
Oh
3
man.
as the first Tony Hawk game to make the jump to the next generation of consoles. That was my first game on PS2. It's almost, I can't even put into words how that game just meant to me and meant to a whole. I mean, Tony Hawk was already big as it was. Number one and two were certified classics, hits on the PS1 era.
Yep.
And to go to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 with better graphics, more gameplay modes, all the stages, I mean, the details of the graphics, the soundtrack,
Man.
everything was just improved to the T on that shit, dude. And the the extra characters you could unlock, Darth
Mm-hmm.
Maul, was it Jango Fett, some weird porno actress, stripper girl, whatever. I think Wolverine.
This was the
Uh,
age before. This is the age before exclusive rights, man.
this is
Yep.
before licensing was a pain in the ass. I mean, that
Yep.
to this day, that's why you can't get Spider-Man in that Tony Hawk Pro Skater collection for 1 and 2 licensing. You can't replicate that these days, bro. You really can't. I mean, oh, dude, all the extra characters, the little extra areas you could
Man.
unlock, the
And the
cinematics when you grind a certain rail, what would happen? I mean,
oh man.
man, dude, come
The
on.
specials. The specials, man. You could actually change. That was the first Tony Hawk game where you could change the skaters' specials. So you could do a
Yes,
900, even though the 900 was Tony Hawk's special move. You could do the 900 with anybody on the game with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
exactly, dude. And I mean, just the create a skater, the create a park. Was it in that one
Man,
or
look,
was that in 4? That was in 3,
no,
right? Crater Park?
yeah, bro, Creative Park was, yeah, man, hell yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Will you put the lava on the freaking floor, you know what I'm saying, for some extra difficulty? Oh man, the stages, man. Freaking Canada, Tokyo, LA. Dude, just the suburbia. I mean,
Bro,
dude, there's
oh, like,
so many nights, man, playing that shit.
and bro, like, even the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, like that that's some of the most fun that you can have playing video games, man. You literally could never have set foot on a skateboard before. You could never have attempted to try to skateboard at all, but that shit was still fun, man. And just think about the impact that Tony Hawk Pro Skater had on everyone. Like, you didn't have to. It got to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater made it okay to wear skateboarding shoes and not be a skater.
Right, dude. Yeah, keep cooking, man.
Like, for
Oh
real,
man.
it made it okay to wear. I mean, I never owned a pair of DC shoes or anything like that, but that was one of them. The Tony Hawk Pro Skater was one of the first. And you want to talk about the soundtrack, man.
Oof, dude.
God, that was one of the first, like, all number one, two, and three. That was one of the things that started bridging the gap between different cultures, I think. Because
Definitely.
before the game, because everybody plays video games, but before that game came out, skateboarding was exclusive to people who skated. It was something that was within that community. You had to be a skater to understand certain things about it. And that game and that series of games were so fun to where you didn't have to be a skateboarder or a skater at all to enjoy it.
For sure, dude. I mean, it brought, again, like you said, it broke out of, it bridged cultural gaps where you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to be a skater to enjoy Tony Hawk. As a matter of fact, I mean, damn, this shit's a topic to itself, but this shit made you a skater. I wanted a fucking Tony
Yeah,
Hawk
bro.
skateboard. I wanted that
Facts.
shit. I
That's a
wanted a
fact.
Tony Hawk skateboard. I mean, I started listening to the music. I was like, sure, I'll rock some bands or whatever, yo. Like, it made it cool. Like, okay, you don't have to be a skater to rock those shoes. You could totally rock
Yeah.
that shit, man. It made skateboard culture accessible and mainstream to everyone, and it really just bridged the cultural gap, and it made skateboarding cool. I mean, before the internet, before you could see, I mean, you had the X Games, but if you didn't really know about it, you didn't really know about it. So for a lot of people, Tony Hawk was your only insight into skateboarding. It got you into the
Yeah, man.
magazines. It got you into the culture. I mean, you
Yep.
unlock the endings. You beat the game with the character, and you unlock the special video highlighting their moves and tricks. For a lot of people, that was the only time they could see some skating on their
Yeah.
TVs, you know, and that made you want to go out and buy the DVDs. That made you want to go out and and look for that content of skateboarding. And let's go into the roster, man. I mean, you had Rodney fucking Mullen, dude. You had Bucky Lassick. You had Rune
Bob
Blifberg,
Burnquist.
Bob Oh, dude. Who? Chad Muska, dude.
Chad Muska.
Chad
Yeah.
Muska, man. Bam
Uh,
Margera.
Kareem. Oh man. Yeah, bro.
Kareem
Kareem
Campbell.
Campbell.
Oh, yo, dude, like that roster, man. To this date, that made a lot of these guys' career. They
Yeah, I
got.
agree.
I hate to say it, you know. I mean, they're all fine skateboarders. They're all fine in their crafts. But for them to be in that video game to this day, I don't know what Kareem Campbell's been up to, but I can YouTube him and quickly catch up because of this
Yep.
game. He is
Yep.
forever, these guys are forever embedded in my head. I haven't said these names in over probably 15 years besides Tony Hawk. And it just came right back to me. So that just tells you the power of gaming and the power of these games where the legacy that they instill in you. it's crazy, man. It is crazy. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I know there was 4, and I know there was Underground, and those are
Underground,
fine.
nah.
Underground was those were great games, but 3 and the first one on the PS2 was phenomenal, man. And I mean, I'm about, I swear I want to hook up my PS2 right now and put that bad boy in and start reliving some times, man. But
Yeah, I get
yeah,
what you said. It was almost like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 was almost a celebration of what those two first games had accomplished.
exactly.
It was
Right,
the
right.
highest it was the highest point within that series of games that Activision had made, and they capped it off almost perfectly to where they couldn't top it after that. It couldn't be
Yeah,
topped. When it
right.
started getting into like Tony Hawk Underground and Underground 2, and then you had a story mode, and you know what I mean, the dudes from Jackass on there and all of that. By that point, it was like the cat was out of the bag a little bit, because the reason why you liked, I liked, and we liked Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3 so much is because the focus was on making great, fun gameplay.
Right.
And then one more sidebar, bro.
Go ahead, man.
It used to piss me off when I would play against my cousin. He'd do a kick flip onto the rail, onto going into like a 10-second manual, onto the vert ramp, a
Hmm.
360 land, another manual onto the other side of the ramp, kick flip, manual. Before you know it, we're playing horse, and you got a 10,000 point combo because you want to
Oh,
hold down the square button.
oh my gosh, dude. Dude, I mean, also the multiplayer, like you said, man, the versus mode, we have score attack, horse, the one where you do tricks on it was like graffiti.
Yep.
You mark the parts of the stage by doing tricks on it. Shout out to my boy Jeff, man. We would go for nights on end, man, playing Tony Hawk 3 score attack and just doing million. We got to a point where I was doing million point combos, man. Like we would challenge ourselves, bro. Like, okay, we're only gonna do a manual and just do flips, do tricks on the manual, convert to a Casper, convert to a kickflip, convert to, we would just literally stay in one stationary spot and do those manual combos and tricks and shit like that, man. Like we were like,
Yeah, man.
I could not be fucked with in Tony Hawk 3, bro. Like,
Bro, imagine if
oh man.
the pro gaming circuit should have been around during the Tony Hawk Pro Skater
Oh,
era.
oh, I might have went pro, man. Like I'm not I'm dead ass serious, bro. I was that into that shit, dude. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, certified classic,
Yeah.
phenomenal game, and one for the record books for sure, man. All right, so that's my sports games for the list. We're gonna
Man,
go
you got
on.
six more.
I
Got
got
six
six
more.
more. Whoo! You can all right. So let's go here, man. We got. I'm gonna go into the fantasy now with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star
Okay.
Wars Battlefront 2 that was the for a lot of us that was the Star Wars game of Star Wars game. To this date, they still have tried to top that game with these recent Star Wars Battlefronts on PS4 and Xbox, and it has yet to top this Star Wars Battlefront game on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. The legends and the heroes and villains that was unlockable, there was no DLC. You didn't have to fucking wait 4 or 5 months to get your favorite character in the game. They were there from the jump because they already knew what you wanted. The battle modes, the gameplay was better than the first game. Just a variety of all the different levels of Mustafa and and Hoth and all the gameplay modes. It was just fun, man. It was just fun battling out each other, Jedi versus Jedi, Empire versus Rebel Alliance. I'm not one for the vehicles. I don't like being in the spaceships. That's not for
Right.
me. I don't like that part. I don't like the space battles. I never really enjoyed the space battles and the air fighter pilot combats, whatever. But you get me on the
Right.
ground with a rifle, I'm putting in some work, man. As a clone
Now,
trooper,
now, if I'm not mistaken, was Battlefront 2 third person and first person, or was it just a third person shooter?
oh shit, dude. I don't remember if it was first. I only played in third. I hate person view. So
Okay.
I only played it in third person for the longest time. I never played in first, but if I can recall correctly, I think it was switchable. I think you could switch from first to third person in that game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, one of the best Star Wars games out there. They still haven't topped this. I know the last one they did a whole lot of DLC, they did a whole lot of expansions, a whole lot of they updated the game to where it was enjoyable, but they didn't make it enjoyable from the rip. And that's what
So,
Battlefront 2 did.
what was it about Star Wars Battlefront 2? What was it that was it just the fact that you could do these different types of battles? Like, what was it about that game that kind of drew you in?
It was pretty much highlighting the best of Star Wars action wise in a game. I mean, we've had games before where you were a Jedi, and we had games before where you were like a clone trooper. But this was one to merge that aspect together. Or we had games before where you were just in the fighter pilot, where you're just in the ships, in the dogfights in the air and space. But this was the first game to come. Not the first game did that, but this was one of the games to really highlight all those aspects of those games and merge them together into one seamless experience. And it made you feel like you were basically in the movie. It made you feel like you were fighting for, Separatists, or it made you feel like you were fighting the clone army in war. It made you feel like you were reenacting the best Star Wars battles on PS2, and that's what made it
Mm.
special. And you were able to control. You were able to be Anakin. You were able to be Obi-Wan. You were able
Oh
to be
shit!
Windu. You were able to be Yoda. You wanted to be Jango Fett? Okay, dude, dope, we got you. You want to be Darth Vader? Okay, cool. You want to be Count Dooku? Okay, we got you. It made all those characters accessible, and you got to feel like, from being a clone trooper to being a Jedi, it gave you the whole, it gave you the whole a whole feeling of uh, being in a Star Wars movie, and no other game. You could go in a and just rack shit up. Like if I want to go into AT-AT and blast motherfuckers, I can. It gave you a sense of being in a movie, and the soundtrack and the gameplay, and everything from top to bottom made you feel like you were in a Star Wars game, and it was the Star Wars game to beat. And I think the only counterbalance to that was Knights of the Old Republic on Xbox, which we'll talk about. We'll probably do it when Xbox anniversaries come up. We'll do an Xbox episode, but had to do a shout out to Knights of the Old Republic because that's a certified classic too. But Battlefront 2, Battlefront 2 was definitely a phenomenal game for the Star Wars franchise, and for a lot of people, they played Battlefront 2 as their only Star Wars game. So
Man,
that's on my list for sure, man.
heavy hitter.
Um, Heavy hitter. We're getting to the nitty gritty, dude. We have here one, two, three, four, five. We
Man,
got five more. We're halfway through, man.
oh man.
Fuck, man. Okay, so my next one is gonna be Devil May Cry 3, man. That game was with Dante and Virgil on what Capcom produced on that shit was fucking excellence, man. Did you play Devil May Cry at all, the series?
I'm not even gonna front, man. Like that shit was way too hard for me, bro. That shit was
that
that them games was too fucking hard, man.
Right, right. Well, with Devil May Cry 3, what they did was the first version that came out was so fucking hard, like you said, that the American, if I can recall this right, con- correct me in the comment section. For the first version of the game, the American release, the normal mode was actually the hard difficulty for the Japanese game. So you got guys playing the game like, God damn, yo, I can't beat this shit. Like yourself, it's just as hard as hell. So what they did for the greatest hit of the game, and God, man, they don't do greatest hits
Nope.
of these next gen consoles games, but for the greatest hits version, they gave you the extra content and they fixed the difficulty. My lucky ass, I was late to the game with Devil May Cry 3, I got the greatest hits version, so I had no problems with difficulty, and I still, my ass was. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna act like I'm some pro gamer. My ass was still struggling with just the
Man.
normal mode, so I can only imagine the difficulty of hard mode. But Devil May Cry 3, man, Dante was one of the most stylish motherfuckers in video game history, man. The weapon selection, the combat was so cool, dude. You were basically playing an anime. At this point in time, you were basically like Bash Stampede, man. You were
Mm.
basically playing as an anime character. How stylistic it was, how cool it was, the enemies, the soundtrack, the rock and roll music, the outrageous cutscenes of Dante beating up demons with a pizza slice in his mouth. It was like it was like Ninja Turtles meet Spawn and that kind of, you know what I'm saying,
Oh.
that kind of demeanor. Dog, man, he used his bicycle as like nunchucks. Apparent, just crazy, over the top Japanese action that you can expect from from an anime cartoon. It had cool tunes, cool ass music. Virgil, his brother, the swordsman. The boss fights were phenomenal. The Cerberus, the three-headed dog, like it was a top-notch, one of the best action games out there. And I think you have to thank Devil May Cry 3 for keeping that game series relevant for Capcom, because first one was a hit, second one everyone hated, third brought it back with the younger Dante, and then ever since then, the Devil May Cry brand has survived because 3 was such a pop out of the whole series. So Devil May Cry 3 definitely up there for me personally, man.
So why were people not a fan of the second game?
The second game, as I recalled, it was like lazy. I don't
Hmm.
know. It just didn't hit. I think the gameplay wasn't as good. The level variety, the levels, it just missed, man. The storyline was off. I think it wasn't smooth at all. It was very like cookie cutter. It's like they
Okay.
didn't put the energy into making it. They didn't put the energy into making it good. They just like, oh, first one's a hit. Well, all right, we'll just roll out the second one. I think it was just a misfire on the effort put into it. The third game, making him younger, having to go back in time, put it in a previous time lapse in the history of Devil May Cry, and fixing up all the problems, having cool boss fights, really putting the effort into making it better than the first game, because the first game was good, and then they put the effort for the third game to make it better than the first game, and to a lot of people, version of Dante in Devil May Cry 3 is the Dante that they think of. That's the Dante you see in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. You know what I'm saying? That's
Hmm.
the default image of that character to a lot of people. So Devil May Cry 3, they brought the smoke on that one. And I think they recently recaptured it with number 5. I heard number 5 is pretty good. I need to play that. But 3 was the one. I don't know what's up with these three, man. Tony Hawk 3, Devil May Cry 3, but 3 was the one that really solidified that series and brought it into that stratosphere of gaming, man.
Okay. So
So,
I'm not sure if this game is gonna be on your list, but I
mm,
gotta ask. I have to ask this question, man.
uh-huh.
For the PS2 era, man. I mean, these are both great game series from what I'm gathering, but God of War for you, was it God of War or Devil May Cry or even God of War or Devil May Cry? Because I'm not gonna include Onimusha because that was also made by Capcom.
Oh my god, dude. How did I fuck, dude.
It's,
How did I
it's
miss
cool. Honorable
Onimusha, bro?
mentions.
Woo!
Honorable
Yeah, yeah.
mentions
Well,
later on.
yeah, yeah. Later on. As a matter of fact, funny enough, you said God of War because that is on my list. God of War was one of the. I was probably gonna mention that next, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All
dude.
right. Segue.
You're good. In terms of God of War over Devil May Cry 3, I'm gonna have to say, game as a game, God of War was better.
Mm,
I think I like the stylistic action of Devil May Cry 3, but
right.
I will take the story, the characters, and the settings in God of War over 3. I think God of War is a better game, but I personally think I have more fun playing Devil May Cry 3 just because it's so
Okay.
stylistic.
since you're keeping this at one per list, are we talking God of War or God
Hmm
of War 2?
For me personally, I'm keeping the God of War
I
simply
agree.
because it's the first one and it made the
Mm,
first impression.
I agree.
So God of War was just like, where did this come from? This is
Man,
something fresh. This is something
man.
new. The Leviathan first level, I
Oh
mean,
my goodness.
the quick events, because not a lot of people, people play games now. There's quick time. Where did this shit come from? Quick time events. I might be wrong, but for me, quick time events
Man,
came from God of War, man. And ever since that game came out, everyone jumped on that shit.
they
Um,
did it right in God of War.
and they did it right. I mean, dude, God of War, Kratos, man, is one for the record books of a character, man. I mean, the voice acting, his
Bro, T.C. Carson was the voice actor,
TC,
man.
oh yeah, from the brother from
From Living
living
Single.
living single, yes. Yes, man. I mean, we all know Kratos is black, but
Bro,
but
like, oh man. Like, just before you continue on God of War, like, I I mean, man, I can't even front. When I seen the artwork and gameplay for God of War, I thought that I was like, man, they made a game about Quan Chi for Mortal Kombat.
yeah.
that
Quan
was my
Chi,
first
dude.
thought. That was
Yeah.
my first thought. I thought Kratos and Quan Chi was the same person, bro. God of War was, I mean, like that's everything for like to me, that game almost captured everything about that era of PlayStation 2 gaming.
Mm.
From the graphics to the storytelling to the gameplay. You Yeah, man. A collection for PlayStation 2 really isn't complete without God of War. Even thinking about the musical score, the
Oh
game
God.
engine. The game engine is also something. The camera angles, all of that. Like God of War was like a movie. It was like playing. I've said this about other games too, but like, yeah, bro, God of War was amazing, man. But you cooking this topic, bro. Keep going, man.
Alright, man. There's not much more to say about God of War. I mean, you said it all. I mean, to this day, God of War is a phenomenal game series. The first one's getting the bit over me, first impression of the game. And one of the levels to me that always stuck to me was the one where Ares is destroying the city in the background, and there's fire and there's smoke, and that music was hitting, and you just doing all the combos, and you just fucking everybody up in that stage. I'm not much of a puzzle dude, so some of those puzzles I was irritated, man. I'm not gonna
Uh
lie.
huh.
Some of those puzzles, like, God, this is why I don't play Zelda. This is why I don't play
Right.
Legend of Zelda. This shit right here, man. But it was just enough. Even someone
Mm-hmm.
like me was able to solve them after some after some careful times. This was before the era of YouTube, where you had to have Game Informer or a magazine to try to help you with
Right.
these puzzles, or go on like cheatcc.com, RIP. I think I don't know if they're still
Rest
around,
in
but
yep, yep. Rest in peace to Cheat CC, man.
yes, rest in peace, Cheat CC. You go on there and try to find some kind of game guide or hint to get you through it. But yeah, God of War definitely on every
Right.
PlayStation 2 list. And
'Cause
oh man, we're in the
yeah,
three, man. And
yeah. Keep going, bro.
whew, we're in the three. And I know there's gonna be some admissions. This is just my personal. We're going to top three. This is now top three. This is going in order now, man. This is gonna go in order.
Okay.
This is gonna go in order. All right. My top three PS2 games. Number three, knowing the person that I am, knowing how I'm into RPGs, I'm
Okay,
going with the
I know
first
where this
Kingdom
is going.
Hearts. First Kingdom Hearts for number three, man. Everything about this game as an action game. I thought initially looking at the previews, I was not impressed. I was like, Disney and Final Fantasy. What the fuck? This is strange, but I mean, once you got the action gameplay, the story, Kingdom Hearts has always had this confusing ass story, and in the end, it doesn't really matter. You just care about the interactions between the characters. This was the game to embrace for Disney. If you ever wanted to relive a Disney movie, this was a game you can do it through. From all the different worlds, Hercules, Tarzan, that annoying ass Little Mermaid world with the fucking mini game that no one liked. Nightmare Before Christmas to visit that. Here's Jack Skellington right next to you. For a lot of people, this was a chance to even see even new content or new continued storylines from those Disney movies that never got sequels. This was a way for you to even see that story progress a little bit, you know? So, I mean, Simple and Clean, one of the greatest songs that ever come from a video game. The soundtrack was phenomenal. The graphics was smooth. It was crisp. It was different. It was different than anything you ever seen before because the graphics it tried to replicate those movies, but in its own style. You know, the voice acting they brought back some great voice actors who replicated the voice as best as they could. From the you couldn't have Robin Williams come back for Genie, but they got a hell of a good imitator, and they had some sound clips from this movie. That game was, I just it's Kingdom Hearts, man. I know for a lot of people, a lot of people got into the RPG genre a little bit from this game itself, and to this day, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 sold how many? It sold a lot, and it still has an impact on I think Japanese gaming. I think that's one of those titles from Japan where it's a big deal, and they try to prove that it's a big deal with every release. They just milked it to hell to death, milked it to death before 3 with so many different versions of so many different games. It's like I'm getting the same game but extra cutscenes. I'm getting the same game but the gameplay is different. This is card-based combat, but the graphics, the engine's still the same thing. So I know the second one is probably a better game than the first one, but again, first impressions for this game, the cutscenes. This is one of those games on the PS2 was just like, wow, this is something that could not be accomplished on PS1. It wouldn't look right. This is something that couldn't be accomplished on previous
Yeah.
generations. It took till the PS2 hardware to bring a game like that to life. And just to be seeing some of your favorite Final Fantasy characters who were on PlayStation get the PS2 treatment. I mean, to this day, we'll never get Final Fantasy 8 remastered, Final Fantasy 9 remastered, or whatever. That's as
Mm-hmm.
good as it gets for seeing some of those characters from the PS1 era get the PS2
Bro,
graphic update for a lot of people. I mean, it was so cool fighting
Kingdom.
Leon, fighting Sephiroth.
Hold on, bro. I didn't even know this. Kingdom Hearts came out in 2002.
Yeah, man,
Whew.
2002,
Whoa.
bro.
Oh man. Whoa. Okay. Continue. Continue. Cause
Yeah, man.
I'm intrigued by this because you know what I'm saying. Shout out to my cousin Majin M, aka Mark Martin. He my younger cousin. Like I watched him playing Kingdom Hearts, and it was amazing, man. Like everything that you're saying, the way that I know that this is a great game is the experience that you're describing and playing it. My cousin will tell me he had the exact same experience playing it, and the two of y'all have never met or had a conversation before.
Right, right. Shout out to Majin M, man. Yeah, I seen your comments, man. Yeah, it was just like you were reliving, I mean, visiting Peter Pan, like we said before about no one gives a fuck about the Peter Pan movie, and a lot of people didn't see the original movie, but played the level in Kingdom Hearts. It was an introduction to a lot of these legacies. The boss battles, oh my gosh, dude, fighting Jafar, fighting Ursula. This was your chance to like, if you ever had a Disney villain you just hated, you can beat the shit out of him in this game. Dude, it was a phenomenal game from top to bottom, and I couldn't wait for the sequel. I could not wait for the sequel. As a Final Fantasy fan and as a fan of the Disney films from the '90s, it was such a weird amalgam, weird mixture of the two, but it fit well. And to this day, I'm a fan, and it introduced a lot of kids who didn't grow up on those Disney films to get introduced into that Disney lore. You know what I'm saying? So Kingdom Hearts definitely up there as my number three.
We got two
Go
more, bro.
two more, man. And the listeners can probably guess these last two, at least the series. Y'all know which two series is coming up because it's
Hell yeah,
mandatory,
man.
almost mandatory for every list. I got two series left. We're going with
Yeah,
number two.
man.
Number
I don't
two.
know what order you gonna call these in,
Uh-huh.
but this is yeah, bro.
I'm going number two. It's going to be Final Fantasy X, man.
Oh.
Number two. Final Fantasy X was, oh, it was like the Lord of the Rings of gaming, man. Like the graphic update from 9 to 10 is ridiculous. It's like watching black and white films and then watching a film like Jurassic Park.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, and
that's a
just,
haymaker.
dude, just the space, how much the areas, the story, the turn-based combat, how much detail was put into every little thing. It was crazy, man. The CGI cutscenes, the music, the story of Titus. I mean, Final Fantasy X had, it was a resurgence of Final Fantasy. And when Final Fantasy VII hit, which is the most iconic one of them all, SquareSoft back then, now Square Enix, SquareSoft, it's fun, it's cool saying that again. SquareSoft could not could not replicate 7. You know what I'm saying? 8 came out, did good. 9 came out. Everyone was like, "What's with this kitty shit?" 10 was like a return to form, even though it wasn't a return to form. But for the fans who came in with 7, it was a return to form. And 10 had just the theming, the conflict of religion, how religion plays a part of our everyday of our lives, and faith. And it was one hell of a game, man. Playing Blitzball that should have been a full game. The mini games, I can't express enough how much that game meant to a lot of people. And I mean, just how much it meant to me, man. I have a tattoo of one of the summons in the game, Ifrit. I have Final Fantasy X's Ifrit on my arm. I mean, that's how much of an impact that Final Fantasy made on me personally, man. It was like, oh my God, this is what PS2 can do. It really made me feel like the
That shit was a
future of gaming
powerhouse.
is, yes, yes. It was like the glass ceiling was broken, like even further than what I thought before with the cinematics and voice acting. How many, like, we weren't used to voice acting in games, and having voice actors for almost every single thing that was said in the game was like, I can't believe they can accomplish this shit. It made the world seem real. It made the world seem real. It made it seem like it was a living, breathing thing. And I can't say enough about Final Fantasy X, man. That's my number two.
Oh boy,
Uh,
number one.
Number
Number one.
one. I know I'm gonna
All
get
you
some
had
heat.
to do, all you had to do, CJ, is follow the damn train.
you know, I'm gonna get some heat for number one because I know it's a different pick than everyone else
Mm,
has, but
okay.
I have
Okay.
I'm gonna have to just me personally,
Oh.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Grand Theft Auto Vice City for my number one PS2. I know I know, man. I know, dude. It's questionable. Me personally, I'm going Tommy Vercetti Vice City as my
Oh
PS2
boy.
game of all time. And I know everyone's like, what the fuck, San Andreas, San Andreas, San Andreas. Like, look, I know San Andreas is the shit. I know San Andreas is a better game. I know it has I play San Andreas too. I mean, I had San Andreas, but again, for me personally, it comes to first impressions. I didn't
Oh.
play number 3 when it first came out. I missed
Mm.
number 3. I completely missed Grand Theft Auto 3. I heard about it. I saw people play it a little bit. I personally never had 3. I had Vice City when that shit first came out.
Man.
And that was the one, again, because first impressions, that was the one, like, holy fuck, you can do this in a game? You can do all this shit in the game? I mean, ugh, I love 80s. I love 80s music and 80s culture and 80s movies because of this game.
Oh
And
man.
the moment where you go on the moped and Michael Jackson, Billie Jean starts playing, and it's nighttime and
Oh.
you roll out that alleyway. I mean, I cannot replicate that gaming moment for me, man. I mean,
Oh.
I love that 80s theme. I love Miami, Florida. I love that, visiting that place. And I love that retro feel, man. And Tommy Vercetti, the story of the gangs, how he came like Scarface. And, oh, man, dude. Because it was my first Grand Theft Auto, that's
Yeah,
why I have a number one over San Andreas. Even though it was close, but
man.
going back in my head, the memories that I've had of Vice City, it holds it over the memories I have of San Andreas, just because it was
I
my
can't even
first.
knock it. I respect that, bro. Cause Vice City, like I do. Okay, I get what you. I kind of get what you're saying. Cause if we get into it from like if we get into it on the gameplay level, Grand Theft Auto Vice City was more of a Grand Theft Auto game. That was almost like the last remnants of what Grand Theft Auto used to be.
Mm.
Like Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3. You remember, okay, do you remember like the original Grand Theft Auto games on PS1 with the top
I
down view?
Yeah, the top down. Yeah, yeah,
I
I
mean,
remember that. I didn't care
I
for those.
yeah, I don't have like fond memories of playing those games, but I got memories of watching my brother and his friends and like my uncle playing them games.
Mm.
Like Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City are the closest things to 3D versions of what those games were on PS1 back in the day.
Damn. Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, bro. Like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was a better game because it added more to the gameplay. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is really like an RPG in a lot of ways.
Right, right.
You can work out, you can you can do all of these things. You can get a girlfriend. You have to feed your character has to eat. Your character can get fat, get skinny. You can get buff. You can customize your appearance in a lot of ways that you couldn't do it before. From a technical gameplay standpoint, yes. Even from a story standpoint, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is better than Vice City. But I get what you're saying. If we're talking about the Grand Theft Auto experience, Vice City gives you more of that than what San Andreas did, I think. And I
Yeah,
can't even be mad at you for picking that over San Andreas. I can't even be mad at it. Because when I think about it, it makes sense that you would say that because that game was amazing, bro. That shit was amazing. Oh man.
yeah, man. That's my top three, man. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X, and then Vice City, the one to rule them all. That is the Vice City is the game that I think the most fondly of when it comes to thinking of how much time, how much energy, how much fun I had playing a
Man.
PS2 game and thinking that this is the next era of gaming for sure, man.